will craft some face masks with mustaches.
Welcome back to Crafts and Hats. It's the apocalypse, so we're doing an apocalypse craft.
Woo! Apocalypse! Actually, I'm not very excited, but we get to do lots of crafts, so that's good news.
Yeah, so the kids have been out of school for about 75 weeks now, approximately. Yeah, we've been trying to find creative ways to spend the time.
And I grew a mustache.
She grew a mustache as part of our
I can't smile with this thing on, but I keep laughing, and then I'm just like, I can't smile because it's gonna come off. So I'm serious.
I'm not gonna lie, it's freaking me out a little bit. You look like Papa. All right.
Yeah, I do.
So she grew a mustache. We've been doing some homeschooling, some crafting.
Yeah.
What else have we been doing during the apocalypse?
Well, I've been
So bored.
Yeah.
So bored.
I can't remember anything I've done. I was that bored.
Yeah. All right. But we're gonna do things today, right?
Oh yeah.
So what are we gonna do today?
We're gonna make, well, since it's the apocalypse, and you know why, probably already, we're gonna make face masks for not getting sick, because we don't want to be sick.
That's true.
No one wants to.
And Daddy has to go out to work tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Boo. So we are gonna make him a special mask, right?
Yeah, and he's gonna go into the unknown! I scared the kitties.
Scared the cat.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so we found a pattern online that we're gonna try. And we'll link to that in the description. So if you wanna try this at home, you can do that too. For this project, we need fabric that is, I think they recommend like a cotton quilting fabric. Say that 3 times fast, it's hard.
Cotton quilted fabric. I can't say it with my mustache.
Easy. It's hard to talk with a mustache. So you want basically a cotton fabric or like a batik or some sort of a tightly woven fabric that when you hold it up to the light, you're not really seeing through it too much. Now this cotton that I have might be a little thin for these purposes, but I'm going to back everything with a thicker cotton flannel, and this is a pretty tight weave. So it's gonna be basically a 2-sided mask, and there'll be a pocket that we can then slide a piece of filter in as well to make it extra safe, secure. So I bought some HEPA vacuum cleaner HEPA filter bags on Amazon, and we're gonna cut those. And this pattern we're gonna use has a pocket, so we're gonna cut the HEPA filters into shapes and slide them into the pocket for a little extra protection. I don't know if this is actually going to work or do anything.
It may just be a piece of fabric that does nothing on our face.
Might just look cool. But hey, anything's better than nothing, right? So we've got a bunch of different fabric here. We've got some more manly fabric for Daddy's mask, right?
Actually, no, this is Daddy's mask.
You want to do hot pink? Sure, why not? So we've got some fabrics. We're gonna finally cut up the Amy Butler fabric that I bought and have been hanging on to for so long.
Bougie fabric.
Yeah, it's bougie fabric. I'm kind of sad about it, but it's time to use it. So we're gonna use it. We're gonna make some very fancy pants masks. And then we can go out, where?
In public and into the unknown!
Wow.
I think this mustache kind of made me go a little bit hyper.
Yeah, it's going to your brain, I think. All right, so let's do this. All right, so here's our handy dandy pattern that we printed off of the internet. Ta-da. So what do we have to do first with this bad boy?
Cut it. And here we go.
There's going to be 2 pieces. There's the inner layer and the outer layer, right? So we said we wanted to put the cotton flannel on the inside because it'll be softer against the face and not so itchy. And then we're going to do the cotton...
just cotton.
The plain, yeah, the thinner cotton on the outside and it looks cool. So let's just fold in half like this. This is good. Can even go a little bit less. And when we do this, we are going to be really careful not to use, normally I would use pins and I would pin this together. You can actually see there's holes from the edge and stuff. We don't want to use pins on this because we don't want to be putting holes in the fabric because that defeats the purpose of the mask if we make holes. One of the tips they give on this website is to use binder clips. I don't have binder clips, so we're going to try using bobby pins. And so that
we
way,
have a ton of those.
We have lots of bobby pins. So that way we can still kind of hold our fabric together, but we don't make holes in it and make it not an effective mask. And we want to make sure that this pattern isn't going over any of this wonkadonk stuff on the side because there's holes and that's just no bueno. We don't want that. Because this will actually be where your mouth is, the center seam. So we want to make sure that that's really, really good.
Ta-da! We did all the tracing and the cutting. I traced, she cut, and now we're ready for the sewing.
Well, almost.
Almost.
So we had, this is going to be the outside of the mask, this is going to be the inside of the mask, and we have to, I messed it up. I did it backwards. Do we want to redo it? Gosh darn it. Okay. So this was the outer and this was the inner, and I completely messed it up. So let's start again.
Okay. We'll be back.
So we fixed it. Now we have the correct pieces. Outer mask.
Inner.
Yes. So the next thing we need to do is we need to trace this casing line onto the outer piece, onto both sides. At least that's what the instructions tell us. So there's 1.5 inches on the paper. So see how 1.5 is that line? So what we need to do is we need to take our outer mask, right? Keep me honest this time. Don't let me screw it up again.
Okay.
1.5 inches. There's our 1.5 inch line. So see how I'm gonna just line it up. Try to get it all straight across. And anyone at home that's watching that's a real sewer, please don't judge me because I am not an experienced quilter by any stretch of the imagination. So this is not my wheelhouse. All right, did I make a line? I did. Sweet. All right, now I have to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. All right. Case line, quarter fold line, 5/8 fold line. This is eventually, this piece here, Viv, is when we fold this in and sew it together. This is what the ribbon is going to go in to hold it together.
Pocket?
It's a pocket for the ribbon. Yeah. A casing, if you will. Okay. So now we've got that. We need to, with right sides together, which they're still together, our wrong sides are on the outside, our right sides are on the inside. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam along the inside center face back. So this is the inside, right? This is the center seam. So we're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam along here. And then we're going to repeat that and do a 1/4 inch seam along the outside piece too. So that's next. Let's do that. There is the inside of the mask. And now we'll do the other piece, center seam. And the outside of the mask. Very cool. So we've sewn along the center seams of both pieces, right sides together, wrong sides out. And now eventually these guys are going to get sewn together. And we want to not have like a giant big piece of fluff in the middle when we sew these together. So we're going to use something called pinking shears, also known as we call them zigzag scissors, to cut along the seam, and it will just reduce some of that bulk. And you want to be really careful when you do this that you don't accidentally cut the part that you sewed, because if you cut through the stitch, then all of your hard work will be for naught, and we will cry. And I really don't want to have to go cut pieces for the third time. All right, so both sides are pinked. Now the next step, so say the directions, turn under 1/4 inches along the short side edges of the inner face mask and press. Oh, actually there's a little 1/4 inch measurement right here on my sewing machine. So
if you don't have that, you just use a ruler.
Yeah, probably would be better / easier if you actually used an iron and did the 1/4 inch and ironed it. But again, we have other things to do, so we're just gonna power through this.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that, indeed. I got a little close to the edge there at the end, but I'm not the world's best sewer, but we're only going to see this side of it, so it's not going to matter that much. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we've sewn the edges of both sides, so the inside of our mask is nice and clean and ready to go. All right, so again, we're going to do right sides together, wrong sides out. So the wrong sides are the spiky sides, right? And we want to start with matching up the center seam.
And sew them together.
And we're going to sew the top. And then we're going to sew the bottom.
So top to the middle, bottom to the middle.
We're going to sew all the way across.
Oh, across the top, and across the bottom.
Exactly. So now there's going to be extra on the sides, because that's what we're going to end up using to create the pocket to put the ribbons through, and also to help us create a pocket so we can put optional filters or additional material in there if we want to. And we're going to use our HEPA bags. So now we have our mask. A little bit nervous about the size of this. I worry that this is not going to fit Daddy's face, but I guess we'll find out in a few minutes. All right, so I'm not going to iron the seam. I'm just going to be super lazy. But I am going to press it open. We could get an iron down here in our craft space.
And a sink.
And a sink. So you're going to press it open now. Now we're going to top stitch so we have a nice finish edge. So the excess guy on this corner is going to go down. It's going to get stitched over, top stitched. So we're going to do a nice little, again, 1/4 inch top stitch. Try to get as much, everything as flat and pretty as possible. Make sure these center seams are as lined up as can be.
And beautiful.
And beautiful.
Wait, shouldn't we turn it inside out?
No, we're going to top stitch. So top stitch you do with the right sides out. And then we're going to turn it inside out again. And we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. It's actually not awful. So you can see it's like a little zigzaggy. This is the part that's going to show. So you kind of want it to be straight and pretty because it's going to be up over your nose. All right, now we're gonna turn it back inside out and repeat the same process, but we're gonna do the bottom. So now it's basically like a pillowcase almost. So we're gonna turn the whole thing inside out very carefully so we don't tear any of our stitches that we just did. And you'll see this is the top part. See how we top stitch that and it's all nice? We're gonna have to top stitch the bottom. See, the bottom's just all kind of doo-doo-doo. So now we've got outside and the nice fleecy flannelly inside. Right? It's gonna be super comfy. So now we're gonna fold the whole thing the way we did the top part, and we're gonna do a nice top stitch. And then we just have a couple more steps. So now the main portion of our mask is done. You can see inside, outside, and you can see this is the pocket where we'll slip our filter in. Now the last step that we have to do is to finish these edges and make a pocket for the ties, for the ribbon ties that we're going to add. Okay, so now we're going to do a 1/4 inch fold and iron. Try not to burn our fingers off. And I hate ironing, so I'm gonna just, probably didn't need steam. And then we're gonna fold it again so that the edge goes up against the line that we drew. That's our nice 1.5 inch line. And we're gonna iron again. And then we're gonna sew that down. And this is what creates the channel. Go right up to the pocket, really. This is what creates the channel that if you wanted to do elastic, if we had elastic, ideally, we would put the elastic through this channel. And I gotta take one more look and see if I can find elastic, because I sworn I had some.
You can see us through the washing machine.
That's all right.
Hello.
All right.
Whoa. Hey
It's a
now.
lot of steam. Okay, so there's one side, and it's all ironed and ready to go, so I can just sew, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay. All right. So we've got both sides ironed and ready to go. Let's go stitch these babies together, and then we'll be ready to attach our wire. We'll be in good shape.
Okay.
All right. Let's sew this bad boy. All right, so Daddy opposed to our original color of ribbon, which was bright red. So we're gonna try, this black may be a little bit too thin. We're gonna try it. We're gonna slip it through and try it and see how it goes. So I think we need about 16 times 2. We need about 32 inches. Can I see this ruler?
You're doing it.
All right, so I need to thread this through, and I'm having trouble threading. So I just attached it to one of our bobby pins, and I'm gonna try, tie it off, try this again. Last one. And then we just need to do the nose wire. And that is important because you want to be able to get a nice tight fit so that the germies can't get through. Germies are bad. All right, so the last thing that we have to do is we have to sew a 1/4 inch casing along the top where the nose piece is to thread some wire through. All right. So I want to do a 1/4 inch channel, which means my edge, the foot of my sewing machine has to follow my top stitch. All right, so we've made this nice channel now that we can basically thread our pipe cleaner through, and that'll give a nice tight fit around the nose, assuming that I can actually do this. All right, so see how we've got our pipe cleaner threaded all the way through? I'm gonna pull this back to right where we want it, because we're gonna stitch the channel closed. So our pipe cleaner's in there, so we're just going to stitch again, just stitch across to just stitch that channel closed, so we don't have to worry about that coming back and poking the wearer in the face. So for the last bit of this, to add a little extra protection, I got these vacuum cleaner bags, and they're pretty cheap, and they have a HEPA filter. Now I have no idea if this is actually going to do anything, but the instructions left a little pocket, an optional filter. Try to not destroy.
Is it supposed to be on the inner or the outer? You have the inner.
We want the inner. We're going to cut it. We're going to, because it has to fit inside. So we're actually going to cut it even smaller than that. I'm just using that as like kind of a guide. So we want to separate it from this green paper, I think, because I don't think you can breathe through this paper. I think we just want the white part. And again, I'm totally guessing here. This is just me going a little bit rogue. And then this can basically be stuffed inside. All right, so clearly I cut it. After all of our seam allowances and everything, that was a little too much. This probably would work better with a thicker
Are you just shoving
paper.
it in?
I am. Well, I'm gonna pull it through and then smooth it out if I can. I don't know. This part might be a complete fail. And you could use an extra piece. I've seen some people say that like a piece of fleece is good because it traps a lot of moisture. So you could use an extra piece of fleece. But I do like these paper filters because then you can kind of pull those out and toss them in between each wear and then wash the mask. There we go. So now we've got a nice HEPA filter layer in between. It's breathable, but it's still an extra bit of protection.
And this is the final product of our mask. It took a very long time.
Yeah.
I think it should work. Maybe, possibly, I hope.
Hopefully.
If it doesn't, I'm gonna... It took way too long, and it looks pretty good, though.
Yeah, and actually, considering that I haven't sewn in about 20 years, it's not terrible. So I think if we made more, so we had big plans to make a whole bunch of these today. That's not going to happen.
No.
But I think now that I've done one, I could definitely do the next bunch sooner. A couple things I would do different. I'd make sure I had elastic because I don't think this ribbon tie, I don't know, I'm skeptical of the ribbon tie. I wish I had had elastic to thread through and tie. I think that'd be way easier.
It's fashionable.
It is very fashionable. I would also use a thicker wire through the nose. I would use like a very heavy floral wire if I had that. I don't, so this is what we're left with. But yeah, and then the last thing I would do is add a little flair. You know, maybe a little mustache, maybe some lips, a little mustache.
Some, little shinies.
Some little, little shiny, some little bedazzly shiny. And then, you know, just for a little extra something.
I already got a mustache on, so...
That's true. You've got a double mustache. There you have it. We made a mask.
Woohoo!
We made a mask.
It's finally done.
It's finally done.
It feels better now.
Yeah. All right. So sign off for us.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this episode of Crafts and Hats. Make sure to like, subscribe, because this took a very long time. Share with your friends, and it would be an honor if you did subscribe, because it takes lots of effort. So, yeah.
So thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside, stay home, and hopefully we will be done with the apocalypse very soon.
Hopefully.